Bats are a food source for humans in some areas. Bats are consumed in various amounts in some regions within some Asian, African, European, and Pacific Rim countries and cultures, including Vietnam, Seychelles, Indonesia, Palau, Thailand, China, and Guam. In Guam, Mariana fruit bats Pteropus marianus are considered a delicacy. Bats have likely been consumed as a food source since prehistoric times in the Asia-Pacific region. Chronostratigraphic analysis of archaeological sites indicate that bats could have been exploited as a food source since 74,000 years ago by Homo floresiensis. On tropical islands, hunting large fruit bats was a worthwhile expenditure for prehistoric hominins. These megabats could be easily captured in caves in large numbers, and processing effort was also minimal. Bats have been hunted by Aboriginal Australians for thousands of years, extending into modern times. Popular game species are the black flying fox and the little red flying fox. In 1997, it was estimated that the Aboriginal people of the top end consumed 180,000 flying foxes each year. While it has been suggested that the Taíno people of Puerto Rico consumed bat meat in pre-Columbian times, no bat bones have been documented in their midden heaps, making it unlikely that bat meat was a substantial dietary component. No other New World cultures are thought to have hunted bats for meat, though bat bones have been identified in midden heaps on the Caribbean island of Saba. In the Torah and in the Bible, the Book of Leviticus 11:13-19 forbids consumption of bat. These you shall detest among the birds, they shall not be eaten, they are an abomination, the bat. In the Geographica of Strabo it is described the city of Borsippa, now Burj Nimrud in Iraq, where there was a large number of bats captured by the inhabitants, who salad them to eat them. In the 16th-century Italian naturalist Ulisse Aldrovandi refers in his treatise Ornithologia that bats have a white meat, edible, and excellent flavor. At least 167 species of bats are hunted around the world, or about 13% of all bat species, for reasons including food, perceived medical value, for hide or teeth, or for sport. Some species are hunted for food more often than others. Half of all megabat species are hunted for food, in comparison to only 8% of insectivorous species. At least 55 species of bat are hunted in Africa, though larger bats are preferred targets and small, insectivorous species are considered less desirable. Bat hunting is most prevalent in West and Central Africa. It has been estimated that 100,000 bats are sold annually in Ghana. In South Africa and East Africa, there is little to no hunting. Larger species consumed in Africa include the straw-colored fruit bat, Franquet's epauletted fruit bat, the Gambian epauletted fruit bat, the hammer-headed bat, and Egyptian fruit bat. Medium-sized bats like the Angolan rousette and Peters's dwarf epauletted fruit bat are also consumed, as well as small species like the large slit-faced bat, horseshoe bats, and roundleaf bats. Asia humans hunt 64 species of bats in Asia, though the intensity of hunting varies by region. In Southeast Asia, bats are widely hunted in 10 of the 11 countries, excluding only Singapore. About 17% of bat species are hunted in Southeast Asia, or 56 species. Indonesia and the Philippines have especially high levels of hunting, with a third of bat species in the Philippines subject to hunting despite legal protections such as the Philippine Wildlife Act and Philippine Cave Management Act, which are poorly enforced. In some Malaysian cities, bats are seen as a luxury meat. Back in 2001, it was reported that 7% of households in Thailand's Phu Keo Wildlife Sanctuary ate bat meat. In South Asia, hunting bats for food occurs in Bangladesh by tribal groups, specifically targeting larger bat species. While bats are killed in India and Pakistan, consumption is reported to be infrequent, and perceived medicinal uses are more common motives. A few studies though state that bat meat consumption is more common in certain parts of India such as the northeast, the Visakhapatnam and Srikakulam districts in Andhra Pradesh, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In East Asia, specifically southern China, bats are sometimes eaten and can be found in some markets. Specific bat species eaten in China include the cave nectar bat, Pomona roundleaf bat, Indian flying fox, and Leschenault's rousette. Additionally, the greater short-nosed fruit bat is hunted for medicine, but not food. Bat meat is not especially popular in China. It has been contested whether or not the Huanan seafood wholesale market, suspected as having ties with the COVID-19 outbreak, sold bat meat. According to some sources, bat meat was never sold in the market, and it has been reported that the bats are not a common food source in the city of Wuhan. Some media outlets, including Daily Mail and RT, promoted a video that showed a young Chinese woman eating a bat and suggested it was shot in Wuhan. But later it was confirmed that the footage was filmed by travel vlogger Wang Mengyun in the island country of Palau in 2016, to showcase local cuisine. International agencies pressured China to adopt legislation forbidding the hunting of bats and sale of bat meat following the early 2000s SARS outbreak where hundreds of people died, though no such legislation was passed. All wildlife trade in China, including bat meat, was banned in January 2020 in response to the coronavirus pandemic which originated in Wuhan. Europe. The consumption of bat meat in Europe has been scarce, not only because of repugnance, but also because of the size of European bats, which being all insectivores are also small. In the past it has been recorded the custom of the peasants of Costaza to eat bats, especially horseshoe bats. After World War II the bats of Costaza's caves were almost extinct for the ruthless hunting that the natives make of them, at the time of the grape, in order to assimilate them with the most tasty little birds. In 1959 it was reported that, in some places of Italy, for example in Liguria and Veneto regions, the bats are or were used as food. The current Italian law No. 157/1992 includes bats in the so-called particularly protected wildlife and punishes the killing, capture, or detention of specimens with 2 to 8 months of jail time or a fine of €774 to €2065. Citation needed. Oceania bats are regularly hunted and consumed in Oceania, and are the only native land mammals of many isolated islands. About 23% of Oceania's bat species are hunted, or 40 species. Bat meat is considered a delicacy in the Cook Islands, Niue, Guam, the Mariana Islands, and Samoa. It is popularly consumed in Fiji, New Caledonia, and Vanuatu. North America. A Florida restaurant has been reported to serve bat meat, specifically, grilled fruit bats. According to the owners of the Florida barbecue restaurant, they learned how to make the special dish while traveling through South America. The taste of the bat dish is reportedly similar to that of dark meat chicken. South America. Though bat diversity in South America is especially high, bats are rarely consumed. Some indigenous peoples may consume bats, with the Nambiquara people known to consume 3 species of leaf-nosed bat. Live bats are sold in Bolivia for purported medicinal uses. Specifically, consuming the bat's blood is believed to treat epilepsy. A 2010 study documented that per month, 3,000 bats were sold in markets in 4 Bolivian cities. Species sold in these markets include Saba's short-tailed bats, mouse-eared bats, and common vampire bats. Nutrition. Detailed information of the nutritional and chemical composition of bat meat is not available as of 2012. In many developing countries, bushmeat, including bat meat, is considered a major nutritional resource, including for micronutrients. One study in Madagascar predicted that the rate of childhood anemia would increase 29% if access to bushmeat, including bat meat, was restricted, predominantly affecting the poorest households who could not afford to purchase meat from domestic animals. Overexploitation. Bats are most vulnerable to overhunting in Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and islands of Oceania and the Indian Ocean. Bats are susceptible to overhunting as they have naturally low rates of reproduction and many species are highly colonial, which makes it easier for them to be hunted in large numbers. Overhunting is believed to be the primary cause of extinction for the small Mauritian flying fox and the Guam flying fox. Diseases. It has been speculated that megabats may be the natural reservoir of Ebola virus, though the evidence has been called far from decisive. Due to the possible association between Ebola infection and hunting, butchering and processing meat from infected animals. Several West African countries banned bushmeat, including megabats, or issued warnings about it during the 2013 to 2016 epidemic. Many bans have since been lifted. Bats have been hypothesized as a possible origin of the severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, which was first detected in Wuhan, China, though the origin of the virus has yet to be fully elucidated. Toxins. Eating fruit bats is also linked to a neurological disease called Lytico-Bodig disease. Paul Allen Cox from the Hawaiian National Tropical Botanical Garden in Kalaheo, and Oliver Sacks from Albert Einstein College in New York, found the bats consumed large quantities of cycad seeds and appear to accumulate the toxins to dangerous levels in their meat.